Yeah, I think he's incredible. It's pretty easy to, the first time you saw, I think he also made his debut on my debut card. The first time you saw Tom Aspinall fight, you knew there was something special. He's almost the next generation of heavyweights.
Dricus Du Plessis isn't holding back when it comes to Tom Aspinall. He says Aspinall is changing what it means to be a heavyweight, bringing speed, agility, and technique you'd expect from a middleweight. And this isn't just some casual praise. Du Plessis genuinely sees a new era forming around Aspinall that is calling Tom a complete fighter, someone with the full package, and says there's nobody in the division right now who matches his level. In his eyes, Aspinall isn't just good, he's a future of the division and could be holding that belt for a long time.
Yeah, I think he's incredible. It's pretty easy to, the first time you saw, I think he also made his debut on my debut card. The first time you saw Tom Aspinall fight, you knew there was something special. He's almost the next generation of heavyweights, in my opinion, where he moves like a middleweight. He's light on his feet, he can grapple, he can strike, he can wrestle. So, I'm really happy for him. I think he's going to be a great champion, and I think he's going to be a champion for a long time. I don't think there's a lot of heavyweights, if any, on his level right now. I think he's a great guy. I've spoken to him quite a few times. He's a great guy, and I think he's going to be a great champion.
Adding even more excitement, the UFC has officially locked in Tom Aspinall versus Cyril Gane as a main event for UFC 321, set to take place on October 25th, 2025, in Abu Dhabi. Fans who've been craving a high-stakes clash between England and France are finally getting their wish, though not in Europe as many had hoped. Still, the historic rivalry between the two nations adds an extra layer of drama to what many are calling the must-see fight of the year.
So the big question is, who does Aspinall get? And I'm thinking it's got to be Gane. Even though I feel like Volkov won that Gane fight, the judges didn't agree with me. So it has to be Aspinall Gane in Europe somewhere, because it's a Frenchman versus the Englishman. Don't forget about that old rivalry and European hatred there. Maybe in London or in Paris. That's the big fight to make.
But not everyone's buying into the Tom Aspinall buzz. Cyril Gane's coach, Fernand Lopez, is throwing a few jabs of his own. He's openly questioning Aspinall's grappling credentials, even encouraging people to take a closer look at his past, hinting that there might be some weak spots to expose. Still, Lopez is fully confident in Gane's preparation, promising they'll come in with a strategy tailored to shut Aspinall down in what's shaping up to be an unpredictable and explosive showdown.
I think Tom is a good fighter. Don't get me wrong, he's one of the best. If it's not, he's one of the best. But I just want to let you know that people tend to overreact and overrate someone very quickly, and they don't measure that. Okay, let's check, really check. You guys are telling us that this guy was doing BJJ very long time when he was teenager. So during all this time, what title did he get on the BJJ or grappling? Did he won any ADCC? What did he, what happened? So I think that we need to be a little bit careful of what you're saying. And obviously, you know that I will not tell you right now what I'm saying as a whole. What I just know is that if we are taking this fight, we are pretty sure that, Cyril can pull this out.
Fernand Lopez isn't calling this fight against Aspinall a make-or-break moment for Cyril Gane. Instead, he's emphasizing growth, learning from every battle, especially the tough losses. Lopez gets candid, even reflecting on Gane's fight with Francis Ngannou, where they misjudged just how dominant Francis could be in the grappling department. According to Fernand, every setback is a stepping stone, and this time, they're coming in smarter.
When Cyril becomes champ, he can keep trying to go for defending the title, or maybe going around and try to fight if he lost the title. But let's just focus on Tom Aspinall, and let's just focus on what will happen that day. And this is what we're trying to do right now. I'm not thinking, I don't want to put even more pressure on my guy, telling him this is your last chance to have this title. it's not about title. It's about the journey. It's about did you learn on this? Like I made some mistake. He made some mistake. This poster that I have here in my background, I keep this poster there to remind me I made some mistake, and I had 2 times the chance to become champion with Cyril Gane, and we miss it. And we own that mistake, and we learn from that mistake, and we will make sure that we use that as a motivation and win this fight.
Against Francis, what was the mistake?
Well, the mistake was that I didn't make it to convince my guy that Francis will take him down. Like you heard Cyril saying that in the interview that I said that to him maybe 100 times, but he said that he was convinced that even he get thrown down, he would submit Francis because he felt like his ground game.
Keeping the story going, Tom Aspinall is being brutally honest about what this fight means. He's pointed out that this upcoming clash with Cyril Gane on October 25th in Abu Dhabi marks the 4th time they've been matched up, and for him, it's far from just another fight. Aspinall says it's coming to shut the door on Gane's title hopes once and for all, especially with this being Gane's 3rd shot at the gold.
Back at the belt. This is the 4th time me and Cyril have been matched up together. 25th of October, Abu Dhabi. Me and Cyril, this is Cyril's 3rd title shot, so we are going to try and get rid of Cyril Gane from the title picture for good.
Chael Sonnen has been openly puzzled by Tom Aspinall's interim heavyweight title situation. He's questioning the logic behind setting up a rematch for the title when the interim belt still hasn't been unified. Sonnen even floated the idea that Aspinall might have been stripped, but says trying to get a straight answer on that is more complicated than it seems. While he's totally fine with the Aspinall versus Gane matchup, what really has him talking is the chaos and controversy that could erupt once the fight's over.
He's got to do a rematch when he hasn't even defended the belt yet. How do you put Tom in a spot where he's got to do a rematch when he hasn't even had the belt yet? Right, you get it in paperwork, and I mean, do they even send you another belt, or they just tell you, hey, that belt that you have, that interim belt, that's now the undisputed belt? I mean, right, like there is some actual questions here. You want to be a really smart guy and you want to impress Chael? Tell me why Tom is no longer interim champion. Put that into words for me. I'm serious. Explain to me why Tom was stripped of a title. It's not as easy of a riddle as you might think. And when I look at Tom versus Cyril, I like the match. But I love the potential fallout from the outcome of the match much more.
Meanwhile, Michael Bisping is drawing a bold comparison, calling Tom Aspinall and Cyril Gane the heavyweight version of Georges St. Pierre, elite athletes with rare talent for their size. But Bisping doesn't shy away from pointing out Gane's biggest flaw, his ground game. He notes that Aspinall, with years of jiu-jitsu experience under his belt, is more than capable of taking advantage of that weakness. Still, Bisping warns not to underestimate Gane's striking. After all, it was sharp enough to force even Francis Ngannou into a wrestling match.
Tom Aspinall is a heavyweight Georges St. Pierre. That kind of goes to Cyril Gane as well. The man's gigantic. He's very quick. He's agile. He's light on his feet. He could run any sport on the planet. And he's almost like Georges St. Pierre and Tom Aspinall in the fact that he's got all those athletic attributes and qualities, but he doesn't have the grappling. That's what cost him against John Jones, and that's probably what's going to cost him against Tom Aspinall. You never know. He could clip him. This is a dangerous fight. This is heavyweight MMA, but Tom Aspinall can grapple. We've seen him take people down. He's done jiu-jitsu since he was about 15 years old. His dad is going to be on his case, and that's an absolute fact, saying, hey, you're not messing with this guy. Take him down. Show him what you can do. Show the world your grappling capability. Remember, Cyril Gane turned Francis Ngannou into a wrestler, okay? So he's a very, very credible threat on the feet.
Interview 9. Doubling down. Chael Sonnen isn't sugarcoating his expectations for Tom Aspinall's next outing. According to him, a simple win over Cyril Gane won't cut it. Aspinall needs to dominate, and do it with the kind of speed and precision fans associate with John Jones. It's a massive amount of pressure to carry, but if Tom delivers, his aura of being unstoppable is only going to grow even stronger.
I do feel that it's hard to recreate an environment that will put more pressure and more on Tom to not only win, but to perform. Tom's not got to just win, he's got to win fast. That's not reasonable. Tom and his trainers can't work that out. Tom can't train, he can't eat, he can't sleep, he cannot prepare himself to get rid of Surreal. Oh, and by the way, he's got to do it in under 4 minutes like John Jones did. Like, I'm just saying, it's not a realistic situation. But it's still the situation that he finds himself in. Now, I'm excited about that. I believe when Tom comes through that, this vision of invincibility that we've created for Tom will become more true. But to act as though, right? I mean, Tom was getting ready to fight the GOAT at Madison Square Garden in what would have been the biggest heavyweight fight of all time, possibly the biggest fight of all time. I don't believe when the final numbers came in, it would have beat Khabib and Conor, but many people think that it was. So when you go to something different and something smaller, there's a real letdown. But you can't be let down. You got to rise. And he's got to beat Surreal, and he's got to do it easily. And for Coach Lopez to come out publicly and stick that right on Tom's back was very accurate, but it was also a very wise thing to do.
Matching the rising excitement, Daniel Cormier is fired up for the Tom Aspinall vs. Cyril Gane main event at UFC 321. But even though Aspinall enters as a clear favorite, DC isn't completely sold on the odds. He believes this bout is going to be far more competitive than the numbers suggest. The long-awaited clash between Aspinall and Gane is finally set, with betting lines putting Tom at -325 and Gane at +260. But Cormier doesn't think it's that cut and dry. He's warning fans not to sleep on how close this fight could actually be. Meanwhile, Matt Brown isn't pulling any punches either. For him, this fight isn't just about a win. It's about what's at stake for Aspinall's legacy and the credibility of the entire heavyweight division. Brown believes that unless Tom puts on a dominant performance, or at the very least avoids a razor-close decision, the division's reputation, already under scrutiny, could take another hit. And somewhere out there, John Jones is watching closely, no doubt scanning for the slightest flaw, waiting for any reason to step back into the spotlight.
It's almost an unfair comparison, right? When we talk about pressure versus pressure, everybody's under tremendous pressure. But I guess when you kind of look at it from not just pressure, but potential legacy and career and what's on the line, I think it's hard to not go with Tom Aspinall because the heavyweight division is on the line. If Gane goes in and beats him, no disrespect to Gane, love the guy, the heavyweight division loses a lot of respect. Even if Tom goes out there and it's a close fight, or he gets dropped and then has to come back or something, like, the heavyweight division has so little respect right now, probably deservedly so, I think. You know, with Gane getting his third title shot in a couple years, like, Tom has to show that he is the heavyweight division. You know, he has to prove that to the world. Like, I am, you know, the heavyweight division's not just, but like, I'm so good at the heavyweight division. Right? This is kind of his thing that he has to go out there and prove to the world. And if he goes out there and loses to Gane, you know, the division already is not respected. That brings Tom down significantly, I think, right? And of course, you know, the potential John Jones fight, which is whatever, who knows, right? Like, how he beats Gane, assuming he does, may play a factor too. Like, if it turns out to be a close fight, again, John's going to be on his phone with Twitter open watching this fight, like, just waiting for Tom to get dropped, get leg kicked and limping a little bit, or, you know what I mean? John can't wait for that moment.
Tom Aspinall versus Cyril Gane isn't just another matchup. It's a legacy-defining, high-stakes pressure cooker that could reshape the entire heavyweight landscape at UFC 321. No matter the outcome, the division will never be the same again.